Barcelona, of course, out of the Champions League. Will Real Madrid be joining them? They're in action against Atalanta on Tuesday. Zinedine Zidane's side have a 1-0 lead going into this tie. Jules, if you're a Real Madrid fan, despite that lead, I'm not sure how much confidence you're going into this tie with.
Not much, Dan, that's for sure, because Casemiro is suspended and he has been with Courtois and Benzema, one of your three top players, top performers this season, and he's not there. And it's not so much that he's not there, it's that you've got no one else really of that kind of profile. Of course, Fede Valverde will play, and he's a really good player and young player, but he's not Casemiro, especially not this season when he's had a lot of injury as well. Sergio Ramos came back at the weekend against Elche, played for an hour, but he was only fit for an hour really after being out for so long, since mid-January it was. So there's a lot of things, and okay, Kroos and Modric are going to come back. They were rested against Elche and came on late, but they will come back. But it's still not great from what we saw the weekend either from Real Madrid. If Benzema doesn't save them, they drop more points. Hazard is injured again, so there's a lot of things not really positive right now for them. And Atalanta will fear no one and nothing, and they would believe they can go to Valdebebas and win that game and win that tie and go through.
Who's going through?
Real Madrid is going through. And it won't be pretty. In fact, it'll be downright ugly. But it's very much what Real Madrid has been this season. It's a dependency on Karim Benzema coming up with a goal and coming up with something special when they need it the most. And that's what is going to have to happen for Real Madrid. It will not be comfortable. Nothing is comfortable for Real Madrid. Even a game against Elche was very uncomfortable. Atalanta will showcase some of their athleticism, will go on runs against Real Madrid. If they get Real Madrid stretched, Real Madrid is in trouble because they do not have the athleticism to the midfield to keep up. But if Real Madrid are able to control the middle through Kroos and Modric and their possession of the ball, I think Real Madrid will do just enough.
Well, ahead of that game, inevitably, Zinedine Zidane was asked about the possibility of Cristiano Ronaldo returning to Madrid. He said maybe, but he's a Juventus player. We'll see what happens in the future. Now, this was, of course, all stirred up last week. But what, Jules, I thought would put it all to bed was that Instagram post that we saw from Cristiano Ronaldo on Sunday saying, I'm looking forward to winning more with Portugal and Juventus.
You're right, because we also saw in the Madrid newspapers on Saturday morning, both us and Marca, the front page was all about he wants to come back here. And we know how Jorge Mendes works, and we know how all this... we know all the system, really. When things like this come out in that way, it's because at some point someone said something. I was really surprised by Zinedine Zidane's answer, I have to be honest, today, because other people at Real Madrid have also been briefing people that it's not going to happen, that he's 36, that he still right now would cost a lot of money to bring him back to the club, despite the legend that he is, of course, at Real Madrid, and that maybe they should, not that they should, they will focus on players who are 15 years younger than him, like Erling Haaland, like Kylian Mbappe, and not like on the 36-year-old. That's not what they need right now, really, to be fair and to be honest. So I was surprised that Zidane was so open about it, so positive in a way, especially also, as you said, after what Ronaldo posted on social media, what Fabio Paratici as well, the Juventus sporting director, also said at the weekend, Cristiano will be at Turin at Juventus next season too. So there's a lot of different voices, as always in this case, but it will be quite a long saga, I expect, with Ronaldo again this year.
Meanwhile, in the same press conference, Zidane confirmed that Hazard will be out for...
Again?
Look at this. Since he's joined from Chelsea, he's played 36 games. He hasn't started all of those, by the way. 54 matches he's missed. 11 different injuries. He scored 4 goals.
Woo!
4 goals. That is the return that Real Madrid have got after spending a lot of money on the Belgian international. Jules, I'm drawn to you because we discussed this, of course, in the past, and we discussed whether or not he's up there as one of Real Madrid's worst ever transfers. You didn't even have him in the top 10, I think I'm right. Mm-hmm. Does that change now?
Yeah. So the issue I had at the time, and me and Ali were on that show, and Ali didn't agree with me, and I get it, was the players on that top 10 were fit for most of their Real Madrid career. So they either played and were rubbish, or they were not even picked because they were that bad, right? The issue I had with Hazard was that, and and Ali disagreed with what I'm just going to say, but it's not his fault if he spent all that time injured. He didn't ask anyone to injure. Always, all he wanted was to make his dream come through, to sign for Real Madrid, the biggest club in the world for him. That was his dream since he was a kid, to one day play for them, especially with Zinedine Zidane as a manager. All those injuries, and yeah, I know he came back from holidays, 5 kilos overweight, and what he does in his private life.
Have you changed your mind, Jules?
Professional football players should do. But I think it's unfair to call him a flop when most of it, 80% of it, was because he was injured, which is surely not what he wanted.
But Jules, surely,
he came for.
which completely contradicts your argument. You've got Jonathan Woodgate in at number 2, who just had a complete...
Woodgate had injuries, but nothing like Hazard.
Oh, he did, Jules. Come on. His
He
injury was...
He played a lot, Dan. I mean, his first game, he scored an own goal and got sent off.
I know. I was there. It's back in my old days.
I know you were there.
TV days. But you can't say that Woodgate was a big flop because his injuries were the key as to why he failed at Real Madrid, and Hazard's injuries are exactly the same.
But Hazard has been there 18 months, and we've never seen anything like this before anywhere. Someone who's so much injured. And, again, I go back to what I was saying the first time we had discussion. When Thomas Meunier in the Champions League game against PSG almost breaks his ankle, this is not Eden Hazard's fault. And that sidelined him for, 6 months or something like that? Ridiculous. He was playing. He was getting better, of course, and I know Ali is going to mention it, and he's right, 100%. You don't come back to a new club like this 5 or 6 kilos overweight. This is wrong, and I agree with that. But there's a lot of factors in why Hazard has been so much injured, why he is flopped. That was not down to him. That's the only point I want to make.
But it's still a terrible signing.
Yes, it is. Regardless of how we got here, it's a terrible signing because of the money you have invested, because of the expectations that you had on the player, because of the return that you expected from this player and what you have gotten so far. Those things don't match up. And while it is the case indeed that I appreciate this was his dream, if indeed it was his dream, he could have done a whole lot better job of being ready to play for Real Madrid from the first minute, knowing full well the player that he was taking the place of. The master of fitness in Cristiano Ronaldo. The master of professionalism in Cristiano Ronaldo.
Is he the worst ever transfer for Real Madrid?
He's getting there. Very much so. Yes. I'm going to go with yes.
Not living the dream. Jules continues, though, to live his dream of having a podcast with the Gab Marcotti. You can download the latest edition of it over on the website.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.